Assalamu alaikum. How are you all? I hope all of you are hale and hearty. In today's class, I am going to plunge into the fundamental concepts of phonemic classification, and that is in the form of vowel sounds. Now, I am going to start something that has been confusing the language learners for quite some time. Now, what is the confusion and why the learners feel at a loss when they are in the class of phonetics and phonology? Just reflect back on your childhood memories. At that time, you people had been infused with the knowledge of vowels and consonants, that there are certain consonants and vowel sounds. But at that time, the consonants and vowels that had been taught to you, they were related to alphabets. Alphabets and phonemes, they are quite different. You must remember one thing, that in English language the situation is quite different from other languages. In English, you need to understand one thing, that the alphabetic patterns do not represent the sound system, or you can easily put it that way, that there is no correspondence between forms and their pronunciation. So that's something which has been confusing the readers and the learners, the foreign language learners, for quite some time. So what are vowel sounds? Vowel sounds, as opposed to the consonant sounds, are all voiced. Now, what is a voiced sound? All of us have a very explicit knowledge of the voiced and voiceless distinction. That in a voiced sound, what happens, that there is a vibration. There is a vibration. So you must remember one thing, that in the vowel sound there is not a great obstruction within the oral cavity, and there is a relatively free flow of air. And how do we try to label the vowel sounds according to their features? We look at their positioning, that how the oral cavity assumes different shape, and especially in the case of vowel sound, the tongue inside the mouth takes different positions. So that is something you need to understand as far as vowel sounds are concerned. I informed you people in my previous sessions that vowel sounds are further subdivided into three classifications. The very first category that we have is monophthongs. Now, what is a monophthong? Monophthongs are individual sounds. It means that they are individual vowels. They do not move from one vocalic position to another vocalic position. Rather, they are single, minimal, distinct units. So I'll start one by one, and along with that I'll write or I'll explain few examples so that you people have some knowledge and you get associated with these sounds, monophthongs, one by one. So let's start. The very first vowel that we have is a long vowel. Now, why we call it a long vowel? Because these vowels take stress and they are slightly prolonged. They are lingered on slightly while pronouncing within any syllable or a word. I'll give you a few examples. You'll get to know that how do we identify the difference between a long vowel and a short vowel. But before that, I would like to explain that how you are going to realize that this particular monophthong is a long vowel and another one is the short vowel. The long vowel will always take two dots like a colon with it. Now, if you look at this, there are two dots, and these two dots represent what? It represents that this particular vowel is a long vowel. We can identify this vowel in words like seat, meat, feet, heat. The sound in the medial position, just in the middle of these words, these example, this particular vowel sound has been represented. So this seat, meet, feet, heat, all of them, the medial position sound represents the long vowel. So just look at the pronunciation. Seat, feet, meet, heat. So this he sound in the middle represents the long vowel. It takes a more lengthy and longer stress. That's the first vowel. Let's move towards the next vowel. The next vowel that we have is the short vowel. Why short vowel? Because there is not a greater stress on it in the form of words like sit, bit, kit, fit. Just look at these sounds. They do not take a much greater stress, rather they are quite short in length, and that is why they have been put into the category of short vowel. So it's a short vowel, and you can't see the two dots upside down attached to the vowel. That is the reason. Why? Because it is not a long vowel. Let's move towards the third one. The third one again is a short vowel. Why? Because it again does not take any stress with it. And if you look at this, there is no two dots. So we can identify this particular sound in words like set, bet, met. This is an alphabet and this is the vowel. We put slash, brackets and parentheses like this in a slanting position with the vowel. So you can look at this: set, bet and met. This is what? This is again another short vowel. Let's move towards the next. Look at the fourth vowel, fourth monophthong. This again is a short vowel, and we also call it a sheep sound. Sheep sound. Why? Because whenever we pronounce this monophthong, it sounds like the sheep sounds. You can identify this particular monophthong in words like so and so forth. Cat, bat, fat, hat, mat, and you can extend the examples further. Now this is the fourth, but it's a short vowel. Cat, bat, hat, fat. It's not cat, it's not bad, it's bat, cat, fat. So short vowel. You can't see the two dots with the short vowel. So it's again a short vowel. Let's move towards the next. The next vowel that we have is again a long vowel, and we can identify this vowel in an example like father, swan. You can easily feel that this particular vowel is slightly lengthier. It is slightly stressed as opposed to the short vowels. So father, swan. It's not like father, it's father, swan. So you slightly stretch the sound system, and when you stretch it, it becomes your long vowel, and that is why I have put two dots with it. Next, this one is again a short vowel, and you can find this in got, shot, caught, These are the short vowels. Just listen to it. Got, short, cot, cottage. Again, short vowel. And that is why no two dots have been attached to it. Just the opposite of the long vowel. But it sounds like O. It's not like ah. It's O. Short, got, and caught. Let's move towards the next. This one is the long vowel again. And how do we pronounce it? Like ah, like this. He was caught. He bought pair of shoes. He fought a valiant battle. He fought with courage, with chivalry, fought, bought, caught, slightly lengthier than the previous one. That is why it has been put in the classification of a long vowel and two dots have been attached to it. So that's again a long vowel. Next one that we have, you can write it either way, like this or like that. It's a short vowel, and you find it in book words like book, book, hook, shook, took, so and so forth. It's a very short vowel, the medial one. The sound in the medial position that represents this vowel. It's again a short vowel as opposed to the long vowel. And you are not supposed to put two dots upside down with it. Let's move towards the next. This one again is a short vowel, and it's a very short vowel that sometimes people confuse this vowel. They sometimes mispronounce this vowel. Why? There is a reason. I would like to write an example and then I'll explain. I have again written this word father. Why? There is a reason. I'll explain. This schwa is represented in this word father at the end. Initially, the very first example is above. What is it? Up, above. So this represents schwa. This one is schwa. Oven. It's not oven, no, it's oven. So this O, this one represents schwa. Again, over. It's not over. It's not over. It's over. Over. So this initial O, this one is represented by schwa sound. Over here, we most of the times, the foreign learners make a mistake. And that mistake is unintentional, obviously. But why? The reason is that we pronounce this R, this post-vocalic R. Post-vocalic R, according to the standard pronunciation of English, is not pronounced most of the times. How? You are going to pronounce this word not like father. No. Let me transcribe this word. We have a fur, we have a long vowel, then we have a the, and then we have a schwa. We pronounce it mistakenly like this. This one is absolutely wrong. No. There is no post-vocalic R. You will always put an N at schwa, like father, not father, father, father. So this last represents schwa sound. Which sound? Schwa sound. So this is again a short vowel. I have mistakenly missed this one. It's a long vowel, and let me explain this as well. These two are just the opposite. This one is a short vowel and this one is a long vowel. We represent this particular sound in words like shoes, mood, fool, rule. All of them represent the long vowel. Two dots have been put with the vowel sound. This oo sound, shoes, mood, fool, rule, all of them represent the long vowel oo, and you can see the two dots attached to it. This is how you are going to explain the long vowel. So we explained this long vowel in the light of these examples. Oo sound. Next. This sound. This one again is a long vowel, and we can understand this sound in few examples like bird, girl, merge. This sound, in the middle, girl, bird, third. This medial position sound, I don't know whether this is visible to you or not. Let me write it again. This medial sound, this sound is represented by this, like bird. He stood third. She is a beautiful girl. So this is how you are going to understand these monophthongs. Let's come towards the last. It's again a very short vowel, and we call it cut sound. What sound? Cut sound. This one was schwa. Now, cut sound. We also have this cut sound within the word cut itself. Cut, but, hut, shut. This shut, it's a very, very short and small vowel. Cut, but, shut, hut, and you can extend the examples, you can prolong the examples and instances. So this is how you are going to understand these phonemic representation of the vowel sounds. Now, this much is sufficient for today. In the next session, I would be switching over to diphthongs and then triphthongs, and then I'll explain how you can realize these diphthongs and triphthongs in different examples. So till then, I would like you to subscribe my channel and stay tuned to my lectures, previous one and the subsequent one. Till then, I would like you all to stay safe and stay healthy. Wish you a very best of luck. Thank you very much for your time. God bless you.